Getting dumped on the street by friends after drinking too much is bad enough, but to be seen by the person I hate the most, should I tell him where I live or not? At night, Tae Yoon complained to a close friend. I actually ran into a high school classmate today, that Yoon Jae Min whom I super hate. My friend asked how it happened, so Tae Yoon blabbered on, explaining that it was all because of an ex downstairs. The delivery was sent to my old place, and it turned out the new tenant was Jae Min. He recognized me first, and then saw the package was opened but refused to admit it. When leaving, he even had the nerve to say, "See you next time." It's really too much. My friend was laughing so hard after hearing this, wondering how this isn't a sitcom scene. But my friend also found it strange. Weren't you two on bad terms? Yet, Tae Yoon felt like the dislike was one-sided, and couldn't really remember why. I just wanted to drink heartily with my friend, but since my friend had work the next day, only I ended up drinking too much. So there's Taeyeon, thinking about going to the second event, but ends up passing out on the ground. His friend was really having a hard time, wondering what to do. Then his friend gets a call from his dear one. His attitude changes immediately, speaking in a sweet tone. "Honey, I miss you so much. I'm coming to see you right now." "Taeyeon? What Taeyeon? He's gone home. I'm coming to you now." And just like that, Taeyeon was left all alone on the roadside. At this moment, Jaemin coincidentally steps out of the convenience store. He sees a drunkard sitting on the ground and, being kind-hearted, goes over to say, "You'll twist your mouth sleeping outside in the middle of winter like this." But as he gets closer, he realizes it's Taeyeon. Seeing Taeyeon in such a state, Jaemin hesitates a bit. In the end, he decides to take Taeyeon home, but he could never have expected that Taeyeon would point at a trash can, saying, "That's my home right there." Since he unexpectedly found his crush who had drunk too much, of course, he would take him home for some special care. Jaemin wants to take the drunk Taeyeon home and asks where he lives. Who would have thought Tae Yoon would point at the trash can and say that's where I live because I'm trash? I must say, Tae Yoon is quite accurate in his self-assessment. But what Jaemin wanted was Tae Yoon's home address, and instead, Tae Yoon just passed out. Jaemin was speechless, saying, "Then I have no choice but to take you home. Don't be mad at me later." Finally, he took Tae Yoon home, but Tae Yoon showed no signs of waking up. Looking at the defenseless Tae Yoon, Jaemin thought back to their school days, when Tae Yoon would sleep soundly in the classroom. Back then, Tae Yoon always had a pleasant scent. It seems he still smells good. Jaemin watched Tae Yoon and said, "Tae Yoon, it's not good to sleep so soundly on someone else's bed." He then started to fiddle with Tae Yoon. Seeing Tae Yoon still had no reaction, he suddenly said with a cheeky smile, "Don't suddenly wake up now." And at that moment, Tae Yoon actually woke up. They looked at each other and asked what Jaemin was doing. Jaemin thought, "Oh, you're awake. Can you recognize who I am?" Taeyoon groggily said that he could. Jaemin, being a gentleman, said, "Well, you should rest well. I'll sleep in the living room." But as soon as Jaemin was about to leave, there was a loud thud. Taeyoon had fallen off the bed. He cried out in pain and then said it was so hot, so hot. Was he trying to take off his clothes and fell? Seeing this, Jaemin helped Taeyoon take off his clothes. At first, he cooperated obediently, but then he lost patience and started thrashing about. Jaemin, being patient, coaxed and persuaded him until it was done. Initially, he just wanted to get Taeyoon to sleep quickly. Jaemin couldn't resist and, "Originally, I just wanted to help a classmate change and rest, but it turned out better than expected." The problem is, it seems the classmate didn't appreciate it, as Jaemin helped Taeyoon change. Jaemin never expected Taeyoon's whining to be so cute, so he decided to help sober Taeyoon up. Of course, Taeyoon wanted to refuse, but he was too drunk and weak to resist. He could only let Jaemin take charge of sobering him up, even overstepping boundaries, ignoring Taeyoon's refusals. Even as Taeyoon started to curse, Jaemin just kept going with a smile. Watching Jaemin be so unreasonable, Taeyoon was briefly reminded of his ex. Even that slight change in expression was caught by Jaemin. Jaemin immediately made Taeyoon see clearly who he was with now. When Taeyoon came to, all he felt was sore all over. He looked at Jaemin next to him, who took a while to react, silently screaming inside, "What the heck is going on?" Taeyoon now just wants to leave quickly, but just as he's about to step outside, he hears Jaemin calling him very gently from behind. He then sees Jaemin smiling and asking if he remembers what happened yesterday. It was really intense. Taeyoon is so scared that he runs away. What's worse is that Taeyoon remembers everything. What to do when someone you dislike follows you to your workplace. Online waiting, very urgent. Taeyoon is having a breakdown but still needs to make money. The next day, he still goes to work, but the absent-minded Taeyoon keeps making mistakes. The manager is also very troubled. After all, a kid who usually performs well suddenly acting like this is worrying, so the manager tells Taeyoon to take a break first. But the problem is, when Taeyoon sits down to rest, He keeps thinking about what happened with Jaemin. Tae Yoon was so angry that he slapped himself twice. Tae Yoon felt he couldn't go on like this. He needed to pull himself together, so he turned his worries into motivation and switched to hot-blooded mode, which moved the manager to tears. But just then, Jaemin appeared. It was like seeing a ghost in broad daylight. Jaemin greeted Tae Yoon with a smile. Tae Yoon was so angry that he swore, and the manager warned him not to be rude to customers. Jaemin, on the other hand, had a look of, "So this is where you work," and cheerfully ordered a strawberry latte. All Tae Yoon wanted was to do his job well, but Jaemin didn't want to leave just like that. He even asked Tae Yoon about his working hours, to which Tae Yoon replied irritably, "When you're not here." But Jaemin was persistent, asking many questions. Seeing that Tae Yoon wasn't answering, he even complained to the manager about the staff's bad attitude. This made Tae Yoon so angry that he angrily smashed a perfectly good latte into half a cup, and with suppressed anger, he smiled and politely asked the customer to leave smoothly. Look at Jaemin, he wants to complain but ends up giving a fierce look. Jaemin leaves feeling very wronged. But before leaving, he doesn't forget to turn back and say to Taeyoon, "See you next time." This reminds Taeyoon of the delivery. This makes Taeyoon freeze on the spot. After he finally reacts and starts babbling, the store manager gives him a stern warning. This gives Taeyoon a very bad feeling. Sure enough, on the first day, it's strawberry latte. On the second day, strawberry latte. On the third day, still strawberry latte. It's really persistent. Taeyoon feels like dying. Fed up, Taeyoon finally decides to have a good talk with Jaemin. However, Jaemin says, "Aren't you the one who likes to see others embarrassed?" After getting home from work, Taeyoon tells his friend about meeting Jaemin. His friend says, "Could he be here for revenge?" Taeyoon says, "I didn't do anything." But his friend says, "Being a bystander isn't much different from being a perpetrator, is it? And you stopped others from being bullied, but you ignored him, didn't you?" After his friend said this, Tae Yoon fell into deep thought. Then he remembered that he hadn't opened the package yet, so he decided to check what was inside. He didn't want Jaemin to see anything inappropriate. But when he opened it, it was just some photos with his ex. But wait, if Jaemin saw them, wouldn't he know? And now that he thought about it, Jaemin seemed too familiar with everything. So what's going on? Tae Yoon couldn't figure it out and was out of sorts at work the next day. Sure enough, Jaemin came in again with a smile, asking for a strawberry latte. Seeing him chat so familiarly with the manager, Tae Yoon remembered his friend's suspicion that Jaemin might be seeking revenge and felt uneasy. So he took the initiative to call Jaemin over to talk. Jaemin even joked, asking if Tae Yoon was going to confess. Tae Yoon said, "What nonsense are you spouting? I want to ask you, knowing that I dislike you, why do you keep coming to the shop? Aren't there other coffee shops?" And as soon as she arrived, she grabbed me and chatted about this and that. "Do you find it amusing to embarrass me like this?" She was all smiles before, saying she just likes strawberry lattes. Suddenly, her expression darkened. "Taeyoon, the one who enjoys seeing others embarrassed, isn't that you?" Back in school, when classmates bullied Jaemin and Taeyoon saw it all, she chose to ignore it after making eye contact with Jaemin. Now, faced with Jaemin, Taeyoon has nothing to say. With no choice, she could only say she had to go to work. But at this moment, Jaemin had no intention of letting Taeyoon off so easily. "It's my first time seeing someone break their own leg." Feeling guilty, Taeyoon wanted to leave quickly, but Jaemin was not pleased. She sarcastically said from the side, "You didn't bully me, or do you feel guilty for not helping me?" Taeyoon didn't want to hear anymore and tried to push Jaemin away. Who would have thought Jaemin was so easily pushed over, falling to the ground? Taeyoon was initially worried, but then seeing Jaemin playing dead and insisting on being helped up by Taeyoon, she knew what was going on. Tae Yoon wanted to leave directly, but Jaemin held him back. Tae Yoon was really about to lose his temper. "Just a light touch, why are you pretending? Get up." Hearing this, Jaemin looked aggrieved and got up. But his next move left Tae Yoon dumbfounded. Jaemin suddenly kicked the wall hard, causing his ankle to bleed instantly. Jaemin then asked Tae Yoon if this was what he wanted, and with a smile, he said, "Can you help me now?" In the end, with the manager's strong insistence, Tae Yoon had no choice but to help Jaemin home. Tae Yoon was really exasperated and asked Jaemin what he was thinking. Who would do something so stupid? But Jaemin innocently replied, "What are you talking about? I got hurt because you pushed me." Annoyed, Tae Yoon didn't want to argue anymore. After finally getting him downstairs, Jaemin even wanted Tae Yoon to take him to his door. Seeing that Tae Yoon wouldn't agree, Jaemin pretended to break his ankle. With no choice, our kind-hearted Tae Yoon had to take him to his door. As he was leaving, Jaemin laughed and told Taeyoon to take care, who felt exceptionally exhausted in body and mind today. But just as the elevator doors were about to close, Jaemin pulled Taeyoon back, before Taeyoon could even react. He went for it and finally understood why Taeyun didn't help Zaemin in the past. But what's the point of apologizing now? To be able to say cheerfully, this is just a simple farewell. Annoyed, Taeyun kicked him straight away. Give you a little sunshine and you shine brightly, huh? Taeyun really couldn't figure it out and just wanted to ask a friend what was going on. Initially, the friend said that consultation wasn't free, but upon hearing that Taeyun had a deep interaction with Zaemin, the friend, scared to the point of wanting to run away, decided to offer a free consultation this time, asking for the details. After listening to Taeyun's lengthy explanation, a friend earnestly advised Taeyun to be careful, as the other person had quite a few handles on him. He also suggested that Taeyun might as well sincerely apologize. After all, from his perspective, you did indeed have issues. As the friend left, he still worried that Taeyun might end up sleeping on the curb again this time. Taeyun, however, didn't take it seriously, as he hadn't drunk much today. On his way, Taeyun thought that if it were him, he might also want to take revenge, but something felt a bit off. Just then, Taeyun accidentally bumped into someone. He was about to apologize when he looked up and saw it was again Zaemin. Zaemin was even holding a lollipop to greet Taeyun. Taeyun was speechless. How could this person be so persistent? Thinking this, he even felt a bit nauseous. But at that moment, Zaemin suddenly asked Taeyun if he still hated him that much. With that question, Taeyun was certain. This guy was out for revenge. Zaemin then commented on the strong smell of alcohol, asking if Taeyun had drunk too much again. But Taeyun stopped Zaemin and very seriously apologized to him. This amused Zaemin, who then asked what there was to apologize for. Taeyun was very popular in high school, but he also hung out with the delinquents in the class. At that time, Taeyun himself loved to have fun, so he didn't see anything wrong with it. Moreover, when those delinquents bullied other classmates, it was easier for Taeyun to step in and resolve the situation. Over time, most of the classmates liked Taeyun, except Jaemin. Jaemin seemed uninterested in everything, which made the delinquents find him unpleasant. However, they didn't have a suitable reason to act against him. One day, Taeyun was unexpectedly grouped with Jaemin. After getting to know him, Taeyun found Jaemin to be cheerful and talkative. So, when others spoke ill of Jaemin, Taeyun wondered if it was possible that he was just shy. They even passed notes and secretly ate snacks together. Taeyun noticed that Jaemin didn't seem to interact with other classmates. Taeyun thought, am I too charming? Until one rainy day, Taeyun's school uniform mysteriously disappeared. Soaked in the rain, being late, and not wearing the school uniform, she was severely scolded by the teacher. But when Taeyun returned to the classroom, she found Jaemin holding her school uniform. Now, the delinquents behind her had a reason to attack Jaemin, and at this moment, Taeyun didn't say anything. Instead of helping Jaemin, she preferred others to think that Jaemin was stealing the uniform because what she saw at the moment of opening the door was Jaemin burying his face in her uniform. But he wasn't covering his face, he was smelling it, claiming she would do anything for forgiveness, yet now she won't do this, won't do that. What exactly is she trying to do? It turns out that during her high school days, Taeyun was not only a bystander but also had a history of pushing and injuring Jaemin. Ever since the incident of stealing the uniform, Jaemin had been constantly bullied. Even though Taeyun felt guilty inside at that time, she still didn't want to face Jaemin, until after a graduation trip at the end of the semester. While I was waiting in line to register, I didn't notice I was standing behind Jaemin. The other students started teasing me, telling me to push him as a joke. I didn't want to, but while I was messing around with my classmates, I accidentally bumped into him. Disgusted, I instinctively tried to push him away, but I accidentally made him fall down the stairs. I froze, unable to react. By the time the other students gathered around, Jaemin was already lying at the bottom of the stairs with a serious head injury. So now, I'm sincerely apologizing to him. I even told him I'd do anything to be forgiven. He seemed quite amused by that. I wondered what was so funny. But he asked again, really? Anything? At first, I said anything but money. But then I realized I wasn't really in a position to bargain, so I just agreed. I didn't expect him to say. Taeyun was simply incredulous. But Jaemin retorted, can't you do it? He didn't seem very apologetic either. Having said this much, Taeyun couldn't say anything more. But Jaemin, seeing that Taeyun looked upset, said he would give him some time to mentally prepare. He said he'd give Taeyun time to prepare mentally, but Taeyun was thinking he didn't need any. Who knew Jaemin would just go, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, dang. That startled Taeyun so much, he said he'd rather forget it. Jaemin was speechless at this. He grabbed Taeyun and said, you said anything was fine. Now this isn't okay, that isn't okay. Is this your attitude for apologizing? I'm really angry now. Shouldn't you shut up and listen? I thought playing once would be enough. But unexpectedly, Jaemin wanted to play 5 more times. How could Tae Yoon agree to that? After finishing with Jae-min, Tae Yoon was finally free. Even walking home, he felt light as a feather, let alone working the next day. His boss even exclaimed, "The hard-working Tae Yoon is back." I was so worried before because he looked unwell. Tae Yoon was feeling a bit embarrassed himself. The boss had something to do today and wanted to ask Tae Yoon to look after the store. Tae Yoon happily agreed. Before the end of his shift, he even double-checked everything. To be honest, not seeing Jae-min for a day really put him in a good mood. Tae Yoon thought about calling some friends to have a late-night snack. But before he could make the call, he saw Jae-min waiting at the door. "Why are you here? Why are you so clingy?" Jae-min saw him and said, "Don't you miss me?" Tae Yoon said, "You shouldn't be here to see me, right? Aren't we done with each other?" Unexpectedly, Jae-min said, "Yes, I came here specifically to see you because I thought it's not worth it to play just once." Hearing this, Tae Yoon grabbed Jae-min by the collar and asked if he was crazy. But Jae-min wasn't scared at all. Instead, he smiled and said, "You're still the same. You prefer using your hands over talking, huh?" Tae Yoon had no choice but to suppress his anger and ask Jae-min what he really wanted. "I can't believe Jae-min said he'd stop bothering me after we slept together 5 times. Come on, give me your number. Here's the first of our promised 5 times. We actually went on a date, but after it ended, we just went our separate ways. What's going on?" Ever since I agreed to this, Jae-min has been texting me constantly about all sorts of random, trivial things. My ex also said he just wanted to sleep with me once. Why do I always meet guys who are only looking for a fling? But what was bound to happen finally happened. He asked me out on my day off. I was wondering how he knew my schedule. When the day came, I showed up on time, but Jae-min wasn't there. Just as I was about to get angry, I saw him walking towards me, excitedly, wearing a mismatched outfit. I was speechless. What is he wearing? But Jae-min proudly declared that he bought this new outfit especially for today. Unable to stand it any longer, Taeyoon directly intervenes, insisting Jae-min change his outfit or he'll tear it up. Unexpectedly, Jae-min starts acting coquettishly, saying not to do this in public. Taeyoon is speechless. Although he knew Jae-min's fashion sense wasn't great, he didn't expect it to be this bad. Now, there's no choice but to go with it. He asks Jae-min where they're heading, hoping it's not just to play games from dawn. Jae-min looks at Taeyoon with a grin, thinking they might go somewhere exciting. It turns out to be the cinema, and they're showing a new film by Taeyoon's favorite director. Taeyoon had been wanting to see it anyway. Of course, he pretends to be reluctant in front of Jae-min, saying since it was Jae-min's choice, he'll just settle for it. Jae-min teases that Taeyoon seems to like it a lot. After the movie, Taeyoon is thoroughly satisfied, thinking that his admired director did not disappoint. Then Jae-min chimes in, saying it seems Taeyoon really enjoyed it, almost as if he wanted to crawl into the screen. But Taeyoon, still playing it cool, says that's just the minimum respect for the movie. Later, they go for dinner, and Taeyoon can hardly believe that Jae-min brought him to such a nice restaurant. Upon tasting the steak, it's truly exceptional. How can it be so delicious? But seeing Jae-min's smug expression, he didn't want to admit it so easily, so after eating and drinking his fill, he stubbornly said it was just okay and the taste was nothing special. Coincidentally, the waiter overheard him. Seeing the waiter's aggrieved expression, Taeyoon felt embarrassed. After finishing their meal, he even took Taeyoon to catch dolls. They bought clothes and strolled around until it was very late. On the way, Taeyoon asked where to go next. Jae-min smiled and asked Taeyoon where he thought they should go. Taeyoon realized what was coming and thought, it's finally happening. Jae-min said, what else? There's only one place to go now, and that's home. Then Jae-min told him to be careful on his way home and left by himself. Taeyoon was in a daze until he got home, showered, and went to bed. They really just went home directly. When he checked his phone, there was only a good night message. It was so bewildering. What happened to the 5 times? Taeyoon really couldn't figure out what Jae-min was up to. Then his ex showed up causing trouble. He didn't expect it to scare Taeyoon so much, but fortunately, the current boyfriend showed up in time. After her date with Jae-min, Taeyoon went back to her busy work life. Jae-min started texting her more and more frequently, especially today. Taeyoon kept telling herself she was a mature adult and shouldn't get annoyed by this, but it was just too much. She couldn't stand it. She wondered why he couldn't text a bit less. But when she checked her phone, it was a message from her friend. Her friend surprisingly asked her out for a drink. Taeyoon wondered what was going on, but after meeting up, she found out that Yoonchae had broken up with her boyfriend. This was probably the only news that could make Taeyoon laugh recently. She was curious why they had to come so far for drinks. Unexpectedly, Yoonchae said it was because she often came here to eat with her boyfriend. Taeyoon asked why they broke up. We were so in love before, and then he dumped me. After hearing this, Yoonchae took a big gulp of her drink and said sadly, listen, I felt something was off that day. He wasn't happy even when I bought him delicious food. Turns out, I forgot our 1-year anniversary. This made Yun Kai heartbroken. While saying he missed his wife, he cried uncontrollably. There was no other way, so Tai Yun suggested going out for some fresh air. But then he ran out of cigarettes and wanted Tai Yun to accompany him to buy more. As a result, after being lectured by Tai Yun, he went to buy them himself. Left alone, Tai Yun thought that being in love really lowers one's IQ. Indeed, it's better not to fall in love. At that moment, someone called out to Tai Yun. Turning around, he saw it was his ex, Gui Zhen, who approached him in a very familiar manner. Tai Yun instantly felt a rush of emotions. His stomach started to feel uneasy. Suppressing his emotions, he exchanged simple pleasantries and wanted to leave quickly. But unexpectedly, Gui Zhen insisted on chatting. Tai Yun responded that they weren't on casual chatting terms. Hearing this, Gui Zhen began to apologize, asking him not to be angry. But what Tai Yun thought was, sorry. Is it something that can be resolved with a simple apology? Tai Yun was already feeling nauseous, but Gui Zhen shamelessly said he missed him and suggested having a drink together. As he tried to pull Tai Yun along, Tai Yun wanted to refuse, but the discomfort in his stomach made him feel like he was about to throw up. I couldn't explain myself clearly. His grip on my wrist was so tight. I was praying for Yun Kai to come back quickly. Then, Jae Min showed up. He knocked Gui Jin's hand away and then linked his arm with mine. Seeing this, Gui Jin got upset and asked Jae Min where he came from and what he thought he was doing, being so rude and interrupting him. Jae Min, still with that smirk, said he could tell I was scared and that Gui Jin was forcing me into the hotel. He said he thought Gui Jin was something else. He then sarcastically apologized and said that even at a time like this, the ex still had a sharp tongue. He then asked me to explain. He even said that if I didn't explain, he would. I was clearly not in a good state. Jae Min noticed this too. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, the impatient Gui Jin said I was being disobedient. Those words instantly darkened Jae Min's expression. He was about to step forward and teach the redhead a lesson, but I was faster. I stepped forward and gave him a swift kick. I was truly angry. Jae Min was stunned at first. Seeing the red-haired guy kneeling and trembling, he liked Tae Yoon more and more. Tae Yoon and Jae Min's second date arrived. Only this time, after it ended, it was Tae Yoon who suggested they have a drink. This made Jae Min overjoyed. Tae Yoon's fierce kick not only attracted passers-by, but also made Jae Min grin from ear to ear. It really pissed off her ex. He wanted to retaliate, but Jae Min stopped him. It's better to calm down first. You crossed the line first. Now there are onlookers. If you want to be sued, I won't stop you. At this point, Gui Jin could only swallow his anger. But before leaving, he didn't forget to tell Tae Yoon to take care of herself. Unexpectedly, Jae Min immediately replied, "You should take care of yourself, mister." Now Tae Yoon could finally relax. But Jae Min couldn't stop laughing. He said, "We're both men. How could Tae Yoon kick there?" Actually, Tae Yoon only reacted after kicking him. She was a little worried, wouldn't it be broken? But before Tae Yoon could be happy for long, her physical discomfort returned. This made Jae Min's heart ache, and he quickly embraced Tae Yoon. He also asked if Taeyeon was really close to that person, saying he didn't seem like a good person. Taeyeon honestly replied that it was someone he used to date, which made Zaemin realize it was the courier guy. Suddenly, Taeyeon seemed to realize something and asked Zaemin why he was here. Zaemin said he had a meeting with a friend nearby and came over because it was noisy, adding that they must be fated to meet. Taeyeon was shocked, jokingly remarking that he couldn't believe Zaemin actually had friends. "Taeyeon, that hurts, you know, it's really painful," said Zaemin, but despite his words, he still gave Taeyeon a bottle of hangover cure. He mentioned he had prepared it for himself but didn't need it. Taeyeon was surprised and said he was actually fine. Seeing that Taeyeon wanted to refuse, Zaemin insisted, saying he should drink it to avoid passing out on the street again and being picked up by someone else, which was a rather annoying but well-intentioned comment. At that moment, Yunsai finally returned, and it was clear that Zaemin had a different attitude towards her. He stared after Yunsai as she left, and without saying anything, he still made her shiver. Later, he even pressed Taeyeon for details, asking how far their relationship had progressed. Of course, Taeyeon still had to go to work the next day, but since there weren't many customers, the manager let Taeyeon leave early. This made Tae Yoon so happy. The manager is truly the best manager in the world. However, his happiness was short-lived. He received a message from Jae Min asking what time he got off work. Tae Yoon immediately told his manager that he could stay. Of course, he ended up going to meet Jae Min. Then he saw Jae Min sitting there, looking handsome and stylish. Tae Yoon thought it was strange. Could it be that Jae Min was about to ascend to heaven? Why was his outfit so normal today? He even styled his hair. This wasn't right. Jae Min said that he had a girl help him with his outfit today. Tae Yoon wondered if it was his girlfriend. It made sense. After all, with a face like that, having a girlfriend was normal. Then he thought, if he has a girlfriend, why is he bothering me? But then he thought, why should I worry so much? He asked Jae-min where they were going today. When Jae-min said they were going to an exhibition, he wondered, shouldn't he go with friends? Jae-min immediately put on a wronged expression and said, you were right last time, Tae Yoon. I don't have any friends to go to exhibitions with, so I can only ask you. Tae Yoon really couldn't do anything about him. Arriving at the exhibition, it was truly spectacular. But why was Jae-min suddenly so quiet? He looked back and saw his focused expression. Was he this eye-catching when he wasn't talking? The next second, he punched himself, telling himself to calm down. Don't be fooled by his face, Tae Yoon. But at this moment, Jae-min couldn't help but speak up again. We come to the exhibition to appreciate art. How can you appreciate me? Ah, I really can't deal with you. Tae Yoon was so annoyed, just shut up. After watching the exhibition, Tae Yoon asked, you were watching so intently, are you interested in these? Jae-min replied, not really, it's mainly because the exhibition is organized by someone I know, so I was curious about how it would turn out. Then he asked Tae Yoon where they were going next, for coffee or dinner. Tae Yoon said, it's not appropriate to have coffee at this time. I just had dinner and haven't digested yet. How about we go for a drink? Hearing about drinks, Jae-min got excited. Are you sure you want to go drinking? The two childish guys made a bet while drinking, and of course, Tae Yoon lost. Jae-min immediately attacked Tae Yoon. Jae-min, the cunning fox, pretended to be shy as soon as he heard Tae Yoon talking about drinking, saying, are you planning to make mistakes under the influence of alcohol? This made Tae Yoon so angry he wanted to silence him. But Jae-min was also curious, do you really like drinking that much? Tae Yoon said, it's not about the taste, it's mainly about the atmosphere. By the way, I'm pretty good at it. I'm always the last winner. When they got to the bar, Tae Yoon asked Jae-min if he preferred beer or soju. Jae-min felt it was about right. If he had to say, maybe soju was a bit better. You could also add some fruit juice to it, tastes quite good. Unexpectedly, Taeyeon said, how can you mix alcohol with soft drinks? That's so embarrassing. Upon hearing this, Jae-min called Taeyeon childish, always liking to compete over such things. Taeyeon wasn't having it. You, who clearly can't drink, have the nerve to say that about me. Jae-min immediately retorted, when did I ever say I couldn't drink? This fired Taeyeon up, are you challenging me? Then let's have a contest. Jae-min, with a grin, said, seems like you're quite confident. How about the loser fulfills a wish for the winner, no conditions? Taeyeon agreed, but too hastily. He was already dizzy, while Jae-min looked fine. Taeyeon felt a blow to his pride. We drank the same amount. How can you be so sober? Unexpectedly, this comment cracked Jae-min up. Drinking really is fun. It left Taeyeon speechless. Have you gone mad? Even the chopsticks were laughed off the table. Just as Jae-min went to get new chopsticks, Taeyeon was wondering whether to run away then. But Jae-min came back quickly. Suddenly, for no apparent reason, Taeyeon asked Jae-min how tall he was, leaving Jae-min somewhat puzzled. Tae Yoon said that you used to be shorter than me, but now you seem about the same height as me. At this moment, Jae-min remembered and said we agreed on one wish, right? At first, Tae Yoon didn't want to admit it, saying he could still drink and hadn't lost yet. But Jae-min immediately put on a pitiful face and said to Tae Yoon, can't you listen to me just this once? Tae Yoon said, don't think you can get away with using your looks. That won't work at all. Well, maybe a little. Alright, what's your wish? Jae-min actually said he wanted to compare heights, which Tae Yoon immediately rejected. At first, Jae-min was being cute, saying just stand up for a moment. But Tae Yoon kept saying no, so Jae-min quickly changed his strategy. He said, it's obvious that I'm still a bit taller. This successfully angered Tae Yoon, who insisted on comparing heights. Jae-min teased Tae Yoon, saying why do you like comparing so much? Gambling carries risks, you know. Tae Yoon, annoyed, said stop talking nonsense, don't cheat, and stand properly. In the end, Tae Yoon was just a tiny bit shorter. Tae Yoon felt devastated, thinking he should have drunk more milk back in school. At this moment, Jae-min didn't forget to rub it in, saying it looks like we should finish the remaining drinks. Tae Yoon also thought fine, let's finish drinking quickly and get it over with. But Jae-min grabbed Tae Yoon's drink and drank it all. Then he squatted in front of Taeyeon, pinched Taeyeon's cheeks, and said, this is great. I've always wanted to be a little taller than you since before, and now I finally made it. What Taeyeon was thinking about now was why his heart was beating so fast. Why is my heart beat so fast? Did I really drink too much? At this moment, Jae-min said that from this position, others can't see us. Tae Yoon asked, so what? What do you want? Jae-min confirmed once again, are you really okay with this? Tae Yoon's heart was pounding fast and impatiently said, really, really. Jaemin then asked, then why are you closing your eyes? Tae Yoon thought, oh no, this is really going to be a big problem. Tae Yoon was going crazy. He was insanely attracted to Jaemin. Now, even the simplest approach could make Tae Yoon explode immediately. How could Jaemin let Tae Yoon go? After the dinner, Jaemin still thoughtfully sent Tae Yoon home. But before going upstairs, Jaemin suddenly called out to Tae Yoon. Seeing Jaemin holding his hand and approaching, Tae Yoon instinctively closed his eyes again. This made Jaemin laugh uncontrollably. Really? Now you close your eyes so naturally? Tae Yoon instantly turned red with rage and kicked Jaemin in the calf. And then he ran home as if fleeing for his life, plunging his face into the sink in one breath. He's really going crazy. What on earth is happening today? The next day, Taeyoon finally meets up with friends after a long time, and the conversation turns to dating again. They even suggest that since Yunsai just broke up, how about a singles gathering? But Taeyoon and Yunsai both declined. Taeyoon even said he needed to go home and left straight away, while on the other side, Jaemin looked at the beer in the supermarket and thought, if Taeyoon likes this, maybe I should try it today too. Initially wanting only to buy cigarettes, he actually picked up a bottle of beer. He started drinking it by himself at the supermarket entrance. Really, it's so hard to say if it's good or not. Just at that moment, Taeyoon appeared. Jaemin was so surprised. What are the odds of meeting here? Taeyoon said he just met a few friends and was about to head home when he turned his head and saw the star candy on Jaemin's table. Of course, I should pair alcohol with extra spicy fire noodles. But Jaemin said, I won't thank you. I hate spicy food the most. This angered Tae Yoon. Fine, don't eat it then. She was about to leave, but Jaemin pulled her back. With a pitiful look, he begged Tae Yoon to stay with him. He even tried the fire noodles Tae Yoon bought, but they were so spicy he cried. He really only likes sweet things. Seeing him like this, Tae Yoon didn't want to make things difficult for him. She reached out, offering to eat the noodles for him. But then, Jaemin suddenly leaned closer. He sniffed Tae Yoon and said, I've been wanting to ask you this. Why do you smell so good? Is it your body wash or shampoo? This made Tae Yoon nervous. She thought he was going to tease her again. She immediately stood up and said she had to go home. She had something urgent to do and had to leave right away. Then, like a whirlwind, she ran off. As she ran, she thought to herself, I must be scared. It's definitely not because of Jaemin. But she couldn't help but think about him. Tae Yoon turned around and saw Jaemin chasing after her. He said he was in a hurry too. Taeyeon was both embarrassed and annoyed. You might have something going on. Jaemin was laughing so hard he couldn't catch his breath, then apologized to Taeyeon, saying it was just a joke. Go home, be careful on the way. Taeyeon really couldn't deal with him, but still awkwardly said, you too. Taeyeon realized he liked Jaemin, but there was a girl around Jaemin. What should Taeyeon do now? Jaemin is really troubled at the moment. Why does Taeyeon's heart race every time he sees Jaemin? To be fair, that face is indeed good looking. At this moment, Yoonduo couldn't sit still and directly said, it's obvious you like him. Just admit it already, stop dithering. Taeyeon said, what do you know? We agreed to go online. His small mouth kept chattering. Jaemin came for revenge, okay? Yoonduo didn't hold back, saying, revenge? The two of you did everything you should when you met, like going on a date. Don't you realize that? Taeyeon wanted to argue, that wasn't a date, okay? Would you go on a date with someone who bullies you? Yoonduo ignored Taeyeon's rebuttal, went to the fridge to get food, saying, this is the consultation fee. Then Yoonduo continued, weren't you two getting along well at first? After this meeting, he didn't seem to hold a grudge against you, right? You guys didn't do anything you disliked when you met. You say you're not dating now, but it's close enough. Taeyeon felt embarrassed after hearing that. Yoonduo then asked, do you still dislike him now? Taeyeon thought for a moment and said, it seems like I don't dislike him anymore, but I still feel a bit irritated when we meet occasionally. Yoonduo said, look at you, stop pretending. Is the past that important? Liking him now is enough. At this moment, Taeyeon was still arguing, I never said I liked him, okay? I just don't dislike him. We meet as friends. Yoonduo was really tired of his nonsense and impatiently said, yes, you're always right. But isn't Jae-min? Yoonduo suddenly remembered that when she saw Jae-min before, his gaze towards her was quite scary. She wanted to tell Taeyeon, but then thought it wasn't necessary. Her hesitation made Taeyeon even more annoyed. Just then, Taeyeon received a text message and went out. It turned out he was going to meet an older sister, Xiao Dan. This sister, besides Yoonduo, was the only one who knew Taeyeon's preferences. At that time, Taeyeon was heartbroken over a breakup, and saw that the sister next to him was also going through a breakup. So Xiao Dan and Taeyeon comforted each other and got to know each other. When they met, the sister immediately said, Long time no see, how's our little puppy doing? How's your love life recently? Is it going well? She hit Taeyun right where it hurt. After my sister understood the situation, she immediately said, that guy obviously likes you. It's clearly an excuse he made up just to see you. Taeyun then recounted the school days incident to her sister and recalled what her ex had said about just being curious. So now, Taeyun is a bit afraid of interacting with people. She feels like she can't control her suspicion of others. Hearing this, her sister got angry. She cupped Taeyun's face and said, why are you overthinking so much? Are you going to let the past control your future? Let's put everything else aside. Just tell me, how do you feel right now? What are your thoughts? Do you like him? This question stumped Taeyun. Honestly, he wasn't quite sure yet. Seeing him like this, his sister knew that Taeyun must be afraid of getting hurt and was avoiding facing his feelings. Angrily, she said that if she met that jerk Gui Jin, she'd rip his guts out. Taeyun said he'd already kicked him to the curb. Afterward, his sister had to leave due to some business. Before leaving, she exasperatedly told Taeyun not to overthink things and stop dwelling on useless thoughts. After his sister left, Taeyun also felt that he couldn't continue being so down, or else his sister would give him a spanking. On Taeyun's way home, he unexpectedly ran into Jaemin again. Taeyun's heart started to race. Remembering what his sister said about following his heart, Taeyun gathered his courage and called out to Jaemin. However, before he could finish calling Jaemin's name, he saw Jaemin laughing and talking with another girl. Taeyun instinctively hid and wondered what was going on. What were they doing? It was so frustrating. Could she be his girlfriend? Wait a minute, why am I angry? Am I jealous? Oh no, this is serious. Taeyun had to admit to himself. He really seemed to like Jaemin. It turned out Taeyun misunderstood Jaemin. Knowing that Taeyun was jealous, Jaemin acted cutely and asked for attention, even showing off their affection in front of Yoonduo. But Jaemin didn't intend to let Yoonduo off that easily. Realizing that he liked Jaemin, Taeyun felt like he was going crazy. But now, the most important thing was to quickly find Yoonduo. Passing by the butcher, while trying to sneak by covering his face, thinking, don't see me, don't see me. But what you fear most always happens. The butcher not only saw him but also greeted Taeyun loudly. Taeyun had no choice but to awkwardly respond to the butcher. What a coincidence to meet here. The butcher said he just happened to be meeting a friend. Taeyun then said it seems like you're on a date with your girlfriend. The butcher was still confused when the girl behind greeted first. My name is Suyi. You're my brother's friend, right? Are you close to my brother? Taeyun was asked awkwardly and stammered, sort of. This made the butcher unhappy. Aren't we close, men? Why do you say, sort of? Meanwhile, Suyi seemed to notice something and said she had to leave too. But before leaving, she mischievously held onto the butcher saying, brother, I'll be going first. Let's talk on the phone later. Then she didn't forget to give Taeyun a provocative look. Taeyun got angry immediately. What are you looking at? But Suyi couldn't help laughing after taking just a few steps. She then turned back to Taeyun and said sorry. Seeing you jealous was so funny that I couldn't help but play a joke on you. I'm Jaemin's sister, don't misunderstand. Now Taeyun felt even more awkward. Jaemin looked innocent and said, didn't I tell you? She also organized the previous exhibition. She helped me with the outfit last time too. Now Taeyun felt even more embarrassed. It turned out to be a misunderstanding on his part, causing such a scene. At this moment, Jaemin deliberately asked Taeyun, is what Suyi said just now true? With a shy face, he asked if Taeyun was really jealous. Taeyun was so embarrassed that he told him to shut up. At this moment, Taeyun's phone rang. It was Yoon-do urging Taeyun, saying they had agreed to have dinner together and he hadn't arrived yet. Taeyun said he would be there in about 10 minutes. But unexpectedly, Jaemin tapped Taeyun, saying he also wanted to go. Of course, Taeyun disagreed. But when he turned around, Jaemin immediately started to act cute, saying he was so hungry, he was about to starve to death. Really not taking him along? Finally, he said he hadn't even had lunch and was really pitiful. Taeyun couldn't help it, so he told Yoon-do that he would bring a friend along. Yoon-do was really tired of waiting. I was about to flip the table and leave when Taeyun finally arrived, but Jaemin was following behind him. Yoon-do froze, her mind racing to process the information. She immediately shot Taeyun a look, asking, the friend you mentioned was Jaemin? Taeyun looked helpless. It was an unexpected situation. What could he do? Yoon-do was speechless looking at the two of them. She felt like a father seeing his son bring a man home to meet the parents. Jaemin politely greeted Yoon-do. Yoon-do told him they were all from the same school, so there was no need to be so formal. However, watching Jaemin being so attentive and caring towards Taeyun right in front of her, Yoon-do felt an inexplicable surge of anger. And Taeyun was obliviously enjoying his food. All she could say was that the barbecue was delicious. Tae-yoon told Jae-min to eat quickly since he hadn't eaten lunch, but Jae-min seemed full just watching Tae-yoon eat so heartily. Seeing Tae-yoon with food all over his mouth, Jae-min reached out and wiped Tae-yoon's mouth, then brought his hand to his own lips, savoring the taste. This completely stunned both Tae-yoon and Yoon-do, making them unable to swallow the barbecue in their mouths. Tae-yoon wanted to hide in the bathroom, thinking Jae-min was crazy as he walked away. Meanwhile, Jae-min suddenly addressed Yoon-do very affectionately, making Yoon-do extremely uncomfortable. The atmosphere was also a bit off. Jae-min suddenly asked Yoon-do what her relationship with Tae-yoon was. He noted that every time they met, she was with Tae-yoon, but they didn't seem to be dating. Are you really just friends? I'm very curious, Yoon-do, do you like Tae-yoon? What's going on? Why is Tae-yoon crying? Is all of this really about revenge? The feelings Tae-yoon finally mustered the courage to face. Were they just his own foolish one-sided actions? When Yoon-do heard Jae-min ask if she liked Tae-yoon, she nearly choked on the barbecue she was eating. Feeling very speechless, she said that she actually had a girlfriend. Upon hearing this, Jae-min's attitude visibly changed. At this moment, Tae-yoon returned, and Jae-min's attitude towards him was noticeably different. Halfway through eating, he thought about going out for a smoke. Jae-min was very kind to want to share with Yoon-do. Yoon-do said, well, thank you, but no thanks. Yours is too sweet, I don't like it. Jae-min felt aggrieved, whining about being rejected. At this time, Tae-yoon also said, you really like everything sweet. Jae-min said he wanted to give one to Tae-yoon. Tae-yoon also declined, saying he was a non-smoker. At this time, Yoon-do said she was going to take a call and walked away. Jae-min saw Tae-yoon looking at his phone with a serious expression and asked if something was wrong, as he didn't seem as energetic as usual. After hearing Tae-yoon's denial, Jae-min said, that's a relief. But if there's really something, you can tell me. Tae-yoon helplessly replied, it's always you. Jae-min, feeling cheeky, said, right, I'm the best, aren't I? Seeing him like this, Tae-yoon said, the only one who gives me headaches is you. Then Tae-yoon asked if Jae-min liked sweet things too much, joking that he might only use sugar and no salt when cooking. Jae-min continued joking, how did you know? Tae-yoon actually believed him for a moment, but fortunately, it was a joke. However, Jae-min did say he had thought about whether using sugar to pickle vegetables might taste better, but he wasn't good at cooking. Tae-yoon said, then try something else. Or just mix ice cream with your noodles. It's not that hard to make pasta. Jae-min asked Tae-yoon to make it for him, but Tae-yoon refused. Seriously? Do I have to cook for you now? However, Jae-min pouted and started using his provocation tactics. Oh well, if you don't want to, don't. It seems like Tae-yoon really doesn't know how to cook. Hearing this, Tae-yoon immediately retorted, I'm a great cook. Don't beg me to make it again after you try it. It has to be said, Tae-yoon is so easy to manipulate. Jae-min then said, since you're cooking, I'll prepare the venue. Just come to my place and cook. Tae-yoon thought, should I thank you then? At this point, Yoon-do finally couldn't stand it anymore and said, can we go in now? Tae-yoon asked, since when were you listening? Yoon-do replied, since you two started talking about pickling vegetables with sugar. When they finished eating and were about to pay, Tae-yoon tried to grab the bill, saying he was treating them today. But in the end, he couldn't win against Jae-min. Jae-min said, you can treat me next time. Having no choice, Tae-yoon could only compromise. After they left, Tae-yoon realized that Jae-min had been holding his hand. Jae-min said, Yoon-do is with you today, so I won't walk you home, okay? As he spoke, he put a candy in Jae-min's mouth. Tae-yoon is so obedient and cute even when eating candy. Then Jae-min said, be careful on the way, and went back directly. Tae-yoon also told him to be safe on his way back. At this moment, Yoon-do appeared timely and told Tae-yoon, Jae-min might really like you. He just asked me what my relationship with you is. He seemed jealous. Hearing this, Tae-yoon was truly moved and started thinking about trying to date Jae-min. Finally, their dual cooking session arrived. Tae-yoon even styled his hair and wore perfume. But why did it end just like that? While taking a bath at home, Tae-yoon's phone kept ringing. When he checked, it was a call from Jae-min. It was the first time Jae-min called directly, which made Tae-yoon a bit nervous. Jae-min asked Tae-yoon if he was off today and if he could come over to his place to make pasta. Although Tae-yoon regretted agreeing to Jae-min, he thought he had nothing to do anyway, so he said, see you later. Looking in the mirror, Tae-yoon suddenly remembered how handsome Jae-min looked with his hair tied up. He wanted to try it too, but felt a little embarrassed, yet couldn't resist giving it a little try. Tae-yoon is so cute. In the end, he styled his hair and then remembered Jae-min saying he was curious about his scent, so he brought his cologne along. But when he saw Jae-min, he was speechless. Just how many bags did he buy? Jae-min said with a grin that he thought Tae-yoon might need them, so he bought them all. Upon entering, Tae-yoon politely said, "Excuse me." Jae-min casually replied, "Yes, yes, yes, make yourself at home." After putting his things down, Jae-min suddenly asked Tae-yoon, "Why did you style your hair like that today? It's the first time I've seen it. It looks good, but don't tell me you're copying me?" This question made Tae-yoon both embarrassed and annoyed, but in the end, he obediently admitted that Jae-min was right. Besides, it was so hot. Seeing Tae-yoon's attitude, Jae-min was stunned. "What's going on? You've been acting so strange lately, Tae-yoon. Normally, you'd be yelling at me in this situation." Tae-yoon was speechless. "Can't I be nice to you?" After a burst of colorful language, Jae-min finally felt more comfortable. Tae-yoon said, "Less talk, let's cook. But there's something very important we need to do first." Jae-min wondered what important thing it could be. It turned out that Tae-yoon wanted him to sit still in a chair. Jae-min felt wronged, but he's not one to listen. While Tae-yoon was busy in the kitchen, Jae-min wasn't idle either. After a while, he suddenly called Tae-yoon over to see his masterpiece. He had written Tae-yoon's name with spaghetti. Tae-yoon was speechless. "Why are you so childish?" Jae-min was fishing for compliments. Tae-yoon said, "I'm begging you, just sit still, okay?" But Jae-min complained, "I'm so bored." Just as he was about to approach Tae-yoon, she held up a kitchen knife menacingly and said, "Then come here." This time, Jae-min obediently sat back down. He then stared intently at Tae-yoon. He thought to himself, she always says no to everything, but she still listens in the end. Finally, the pasta was ready. The dish's appearance alone had already conquered Jae-min, but he was still thinking about his sugar-added pasta. Although Tae-yoon was very angry that Jae-min wasted food, he was also curious, so he actually made a sweetened one for Jae-min. However, after Jae-min tasted it, he understood why no one tries to eat it that way. Tae-yoon also took a bite. It was really awful, and his expression was out of control. But at that moment, Jae-min took a picture. Tae-yoon told Jae-min to delete it. Jae-min refused, and the two started tussling. Jae-min even suggested playing rock paper scissors and said that if he won, Tae-yoon would have to delete it. Tae-yoon wasn't having it and retorted, "Rock paper scissors? You look like rock paper scissors. Delete it before I pull out all your hair." After all that commotion, both of them were exhausted and panting. Taking advantage of the moment, Jae-min grabbed Tae-yoon's hand and said with a grin, "I won. I played paper." He then said the photo was cute and that he would just keep it for himself. This made Tae-yoon even more annoyed. "You are really annoying. Do whatever you want."